guys, welcome back. We're at episode 2 of If It Isn't Love podcast. I'm your host, Donisha, and here to my left, your right, probably that's how those things work, is my wonderful co-host and boo thing,
JL Woodson.
And we're here with another episode. We're really excited. We launched the first episode last week. I think we got a lot of positive feedback. So Thank you guys for listening to our story and joining us. Don't forget, share the podcast. We really want to, grow our viewership and our listenership. And so it's been really fun, hanging out together and reminiscing and talking about stuff. I think it's also increased the conversations we just naturally have throughout the week. So I'm really, really excited about how things are progressing. I will say you're such a perfectionist when it comes to this whole process. It's really interesting to just be a part of that. Anybody who it's not that I don't like the sound of my voice. It's just I sound different. How you sound different. Mm-hmm. So when you hear yourself recorded, you hear what people hear. Yeah. But that's not what I hear in my head. It's a different voice. Is that not everybody else?
No, I don't know. Okay, so for me, I understand where you're coming from, but I know how I sound.
It's not that I don't know how I sound. It's just different. I recognize my voice. Yes, that's me. Mm-hmm. But how I hear myself, right now, how I hear myself in my head is very different than when we're, listening. So I say that to say I never listen to any of my recordings. I very rarely. I'll listen to, with Woke and Ratchet, I'll listen to the podcast so, we can grow our listenership. And if there were some things, or, if I knew there's this funny part, I always play the podcast. But yeah. I don't necessarily just listen to them. And I definitely don't listen to them before their broadcast. And so you being no, we need to listen to this so we can pick parts and do all stuff. I was just
right.
Okay, look at it was very professional, very on top of it. So that's fun. So continuing our journey, our podcast is about love, relationship, specifically ours. It's not about, we're not an advice. We might give advice, but it's solely based on what works for us.
Yeah, we're not experts on everybody else's relationship. We do not most of this stuff is do at your own risk. And then on top of that, we just don't want to give you something that we do that may not work for you.
Exactly. So, but most importantly, we're here to have a good time and to, I think, just share our experiences and get insight from. I want to get insight from other people too. All right, let's try this. Let's see, whatever. So today's topic is it's interesting. We're talking about quarantine. We're talking about love in the time of quarantine and living together and relationship during a pandemic. Which I know a lot of people have been experiencing a multitude of, I don't want to say issues, because not necessarily issues, but it's just things during living in a pandemic, right? People who are in long distance relationships, but it's it got real long because of travel restrictions, especially if somebody doesn't live, if you don't live in the same country and you just legally, you cannot leave to go visit your significant other. People have breakups because there has been increased closeness when there wasn't before. But I know people who have gotten into relationships because it's I'm going to choose you and hold on because dating is dangerous now. So for us specifically, I think it has been, and technically we're still in quarantine. I don't know what is happening in the world.
It's hard to keep up with. It's definitely hard to keep up with because I'm one, I base quite a few decisions on how you feel. Okay. Because I probably would have been outside, but I'm she's probably gonna have a little situation if I come back in the house and like don't immediately go take a shower or something like that. Like, or say if I like, I'm cautious now of what I do, like as far as like going to the grocery store by myself. I make sure people stay away from me, because even though like you go to the grocery store, and one thing that was like really irritating to me, like, you know how like they have them stickers saying go this way instead of going this way down the aisle. People would just go down the aisle.
And they're awful in Walmart. They're even worse in Walmart. Like, but
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, at Walmart. At Walmart. Yeah, they are just ridiculous. And I have been, I'm not gonna lie, I've been guilty of doing it, but like absentmindedly.
Yeah, but it's like you don't pay attention to the floor.
I will absolutely go around to the other aisle and loop back around, because why not? Because safety, right?
Right,
like, why not do that? I think, I don't know if we're in quarantine. It's like quarantine light. We're in quarantine light because I mean, I have relaxed some of my protocols for interaction with the outside world in comparison to where we were when we first went on quarantine.
Couldn't have nobody over.
Oh, wait, I'm still nobody over.
True.
Okay. So that's probably the only thing that I'm not about. I'm even open to going to other people's house, preferably outside. Like,
yeah, like the courtyard or something.
Yeah, like I have a gathering like with Jajo like next week, and like we're gonna be like I want to be in like the backyard and stuff like that. Preferably, I'll go to your house, but I'm gonna wear a mask unless I need to eat. But usually that's not an issue with me because my eating is all weird, and I usually just eat myself before I go places. But I think. And I'm going to be honest, I think that I started getting more comfortable with going out because I felt and feel pressured to do so. I don't necessarily feel comfortable. The world, like our society. No, not you, but by like society. Like I'm not sure that I feel 100% comfortable. And it's really confusing because I legitimately will change my mind like the wind. And it's not that I don't, because like we went to Turkey Leg Hut. Originally, I was like, I'll never go because it's so crowded. Now, I will say everybody was wearing, well, the servers were wearing masks. At least our table, we were socially distanced from everyone else. I try to think we went early enough before it got super packed, even though people were there really early. People did not play. That place opened at 11. We got there
and
at
this
12,
was my first time, so yeah.
And it was packed. But like, well, it wasn't packed, but it wasn't like the beginning of a lunch period where it's only one or two people. It was just like, it was a good amount of people, right, before noon. So, and when at one point, like we just started going back to restaurants like almost 2 months ago. Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah, a little over, maybe a month and a half when we went to that Mexican restaurant, because I'm just like, I do not want to go and eat. Like, I will say, I've been getting my nails done again for probably since like July, but those are spaces where I wear my mask the entire time, and where there are shields up between me and my tech, and it's just us. Like, so there were things where I was like super, like, I'll do this if we're very protected.
But she has her own shop though.
Yes, that's what I was saying. It's just us. It was just the two of us.
Right.
It's just the two of us. And that's probably why I did it, because it was just the two of us.
Just the two. Okay.
So I say all that to say, I feel like when I see other people going out and living and everybody's not wearing their mask, I know it sounds lame, because I'm usually not a FOMO type of person. And it's not because I want to go out and do the thing. I feel like the best thing the pandemic gave me is an excuse to be like, I can't go to your party.
Shoot.
Because I don't be want to go.
Most times I just didn't need an excuse. I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm not going.
I mean, that too. Absolutely. But I just felt like it was met with better understanding when I said, no, I'm not going. Because people get it. And I think people still get it. Like, there is still a pandemic. And people are still getting sick. And I think there was their whole thing when, like, I mean, you don't see people reporting the CDC numbers as much. But like when I log into my work, like the platform, the first thing we say is like, Houston, we're still level 3, which is like a red zone danger for a spread of coronavirus. So it is still, but people, like there's some shit I'm not doing. I'm not going to hookah. I'm not going to go somewhere where I have to sit, people pass stuff. Let me tell you.
Share like air spaces and stuff like that.
None of that. Like even if we go out to eat, like if I go out to eat, people like, ooh, I don't want to be like right next to one another. Let's be at a table where we're like, we have some distance, especially people I don't know or I don't live with, or which is on you. So, I mean, and really, I just go out to eat with you. I don't. That's it. So, I'll say all that. I've relaxed. I think we have relaxed a little bit in our approach. I mean, we still wear our masks indoors everywhere. I start going back to work part-time in the office half the week. And so I still wear my mask when I'm in the office, unless I'm in my individual office in which I close the door and then I don't wear my mask. But like walking around, I wear my mask. So it's gotten to be, I mean, mask game has come up, got all kinds and varieties and things like that. But I think for us, the interesting thing about quarantine was you had just moved here to Houston at the end of December, like right before New Year. And then at the time, Drea was still living here in the apartment. She moved out like maybe a month and a half, 2 months after. So she moved in like February, right?
February, March.
Yeah. So we had a few weeks where it was like the 3 of us. And then when she left, it was like March. And I remember that's when we started really hearing about the whole coronavirus. And you know what it was? We were still living our lives normally. And I remember the day where it started to get a little scary. We were going out. It was spring break for me. So I wasn't going to work. And we were trying to get a driver's license for you that first time.
The transfer of my driver's license. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, you don't have this, you don't have this. The line was really long. But we were supposed to meet up with Drea to go to rodeo because I wanted him to experience rodeo. And we kept hearing about coronavirus, and we were actually like giving up on the driver's license thing for that day because he was getting frustrated. He was mad frustrated that day.
I don't like the DMV period.
And like, I had already like gone back to the house.
That location though was trash.
Yes, because that's when I had already gone back to the house to get something for you to come back, and it still wasn't enough.
And they didn't tell me like I needed something else. I'm like, y'all could have told me all that at one time.
I drove back to the house to get this stuff. So it was like crazy, whatever. So we just like, forget it. We were going to meet up with Drea to go to rodeo. And we were on our way and we were listening to the radio and we found that they were like, oh, Houston rodeo shut down.
Like on the radio.
We were literally on our way to the rodeo when they shut, and we're like, oh, okay, circle back, go home. Jerry was like, yeah, I heard it. So that's when it started getting really like, I started getting nervous, like, oh, wait, they're really shutting stuff down. And so this was like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. And so I think that prompted us to be like, let's go like make sure we have groceries and stuff. But that's when the grocery store started getting crazy. Yeah. There was no water anywhere. And it was so crazy because I was
toilet paper.
Oh, that's when toilet paper gate happened.
Yeah. Everybody started buying up the toilet paper, trying to resell it and whatnot. And
hand sanitizer. That's when everything went really crazy. And I'm not going to lie. That's when I got really nervous. Like, I was just like, okay. I've never experienced anything this wide. It's different when there's like a hurricane or a blizzard and stuff like that. Well, like when the snow melts, which could be a few weeks or months, or you can go to the next town over and get, but it's totally different when it's like, no, this is everywhere. Because our family in Chicago was reporting the same, like there's no tissue. There's still so difficult to find sanitizing wipes 9 months later. Yeah. My sister just sent us a box of sanitizing wipes that she has slowly collected over time. My cousin actually has one for us too. Like she knows she's like marked like the Target, the days you can go.
Okay, they sending blessings.
And you have to like go and get, the wipes. You're going to get one per customer. So that's why she has to like build them up, like one for her, like all sort of stuff. So it's still difficult, and we're in October now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think it got really scary at that point. And then you didn't get scared?
Not really, because like when it comes to stuff like that, like I've always thought about like what would I do in case of the zombie apocalypse and all that stuff, or World War Z and stuff like that. I can't really even say that right. Anyway, but like I knew that there were some places where you can go to get some stuff. It's not gonna be name brand or anything like that, but there's gonna be places where you can go. And then also like I had started looking on Amazon, like, okay, we need a water filtration system just in case.
Yeah, but literally like in a day that stuff was sold out. Like,
true.
And it so you still cannot buy like Lysol wipes at Amazon.
But I don't really use Lysol wipes anyway.
I mean, I like, because this new hand sanitizer, now you're in a space where hand sanitizers are more abundant and stuff like that, but a lot of them don't smell like.
And they feel weird.
They're not like the gel. They feel like water, and they don't smell like alcohol. If it don't smell like alcohol, I just don't feel like it's going to clean it.
It feels like you're rubbing snot in your hand.
It doesn't feel like it's going to, like, it's, when like hand sanitizer or Lysol wipes or whatever, it says like, oh, it's going to kill 99% of germs. I feel like it's going to kill like 72%, like with that stuff.
Shoot, less than that.
I just don't feel like this is not really working. So,
but everybody was trying to capitalize on the fact like they premised it as, oh, we need to have hand sanitizer. Everybody needs to have hand sanitizer. Like, and then you start seeing all these companies start coming out with different hand sanitizer. I'm like, you're not known for it. You haven't been shooting in the gym with these people. Stay in your lane. Your hand sanitizer literally feels like somebody spit in their hand and just made it happen. That's what it feels like.
That's nasty. Yeah, so when I would find stuff, like when we go to Aldi and I would see Germex, I would like get it, and it'd be like one per customer. We don't need it. I would get it, go back in line, get another one. Like, but I will always never do more than 2 because I want to leave stuff for other people. Everything definitely showed me how trash people are. People fighting over and selfish. Because my thing is like, I'm not gonna take everything. Like I remember when it started getting popping that day we left. We went to visit Drea in her new apartment, and we went to like Dollar Tree, and like it was a lady, and she bought 72 rolls of paper towels. She just bought all the. Now I guarantee you, people still have that stuff because this hand sanitizer that I have that I bought, literally, we have like the little ones, that I keep in my purse all the time. I don't have, you just don't, it's not that much, right? And I'm still the person that puts hand sanitizer on my hands every time I get back in the car, like if I go to the store, especially if I'm drinking something, I definitely put hand sanitizer on. I still wipe the steering wheel down. Yeah. I still do all of that stuff. So I still do everything because I feel like if I'm going to be out more, when I wasn't going out, I was doing it. So why, when I am going out, would I not do it when the pandemic is still spread? I mean, the virus is still spreading. It's not slowing down. So it doesn't make sense to me to get lax on the things that I do as I increase my engagement with other people.
I feel like we are definitely two totally separate people when it comes to that, because like, of course, hand sanitizer for me is more so one of those definitely on the go things, but even still, like even if it's in the car, I'm never really thinking to use it.
I know, because when you're with me, I give it to you to make sure you do it. I know that you don't.
I mean, I just never had to.
I always imagine that because you don't take any when you leave. So I know that if you're by yourself driving, you're not sanitizing, which is why I'm also like, when you come home, wash your hands.
I wash my hands.
I know you do. I know you do when you come home, but that's why because I'm like, I know you're not sanitizing while you're out in these streets. So when you come home, make sure you wash your hands.
Making it seem like I'm a germ thought.
You're not a germ thought. That's funny though. Honestly, I am very cautious because I think about, one, I don't want either one of us to be sick.
Right.
Honestly.
No, at least not like last year. Like last year for me was terrible.
But then with coronavirus, I guarantee you it would be worse. True. So I don't want you to be sick. And I think about shit like, I talk about insurance and stuff. Like, so I especially don't want you to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get sick either because, I mean, my job is only going to give me 10 days of, but it is like, and if you don't, then you got to take vacation or do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to get sick. I don't want to just be sick because I want to be sick. I hate being sick.
I don't think anybody want to be sick.
So I don't want to be sick, but that's another reason because like I don't want to get you sick, which is why I'm very cautious. That's why I'm still no people in this house. Like no one aside from the maintenance people who have come to like change stuff, fix the stove. We had to get a new tub, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, no one has come into the house except us. And it will remain that way for the rest of the year, probably. Like, I'm still not that comfortable. I'm still not. And if other people want people in their house, that's where y'all live. That's where y'all pay bills. What I am, I waited a long time. As a kid, my mom would be like, when you pay these bills, you can, decide what's going on. I pay these bills. So now I get to decide what goes on in this house. And it's just how I feel, right? I don't want people in the house. I'm not there yet. Who knows? 2021 can come and I can be like, that might be another layer, but it still probably be with masks and stuff like that. And I know people were like, "What, girl? How we gonna eat these nachos?
Anyway,
how we gonna have game night with masks on?" I don't know. I can't answer that for you. So just probably not here. So
I think okay. So for me, it's more so I'm less willing to take the risk because of you. Like, if anything, if I was still like if I was living by myself or anything like that, like I probably would have went to like Grand Lux by now, and definitely keep forgetting that I had like most of the stuff that you remind me of, like or remind like to like my mask and everything like that, because like. It's like that meme when was that Barack Obama was going out to the plane and everything like keys, wallet, my mask. And then we also have a mask of shame.
Which we really just need to watch that. That's gross.
It is.
One of us would get awfully sick if we had to wear it. I just come home and be like, okay, I guess I'm not going to get these groceries today.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, like I'm not one of those people who will always like I'm like, okay, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that and everything like that. But I think more so because I have somebody else to care about, like in my living space, is more so okay. Just see what we can think of together. Like if she's not comfortable, I'm not gonna do it. Therefore, it's just not gonna happen. So I'll shut your face. But like there been like one or two times, like I think it's because like you will think to do something or like we'll think to go out and everything like that, and then that's like do we really want to chance it? Like when pandemic first started happening and whatnot, and I was like, okay, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, are we doing this or are we doing that? So finally, I was like, okay, when she's ready and comfortable and everything like that, we'll go ahead and tackle it. Like going out to dinner or I think even going to the park was like mentally draining because like, of course, people of Texas, mainly where we are in Houston, nobody was really following the rules at first because like everybody thought it was a hoax. Everybody thought it was just like something to play around with, like, oh, I'm young, I can bounce back and everything like that, not realizing like, your grandfather and your grandmother could possibly get this stuff, and next thing you know, you're at their funeral like wondering what happened. Like that's where the selfishness parts come in for me. I'm like, how selfish can you be to really not factor in anybody else's well-being? Like back home, like so far 7 people passed that I know of due to this stuff, and I think that's when it like the first person that passed, like it seriously hit home. I'm like, okay, yeah, like people really need. We was taking it seriously, but people really need to take it seriously.
So the thing is, that's my point. None of that has changed. People are still dying at the same rates. It is not getting better. So how do we feel? But we in our, and I'm including myself in this, in our selfishness as Americans, are saying my boredom, my desire for things to go back to normal is more important than people's health. Like when I started going back to intermediate, like to the dance studio I go to. And they were but it was like 50% of classes, and they have like social distancing stickers, and you wear your mask, and I would take my mask off when I would dance because it is very hard to work out in your mask. So like even when I show videos, like my mask is right, you can't see where it is, but it's right next to me, which is why I'm always on like a specific side. My mask is right next to me. And so whenever I take a break, like I get my water, I want to be on the edge so I can put my mask on. If I need to go to the bathroom, if I go anywhere, I put outside of that circle, I wear my mask, and then we're all apart. Recently it increased. I didn't realize the city or the state increased capacity in places like restaurants and gyms and stuff to 75%. Because I started seeing more people coming. I'm like, why is it so crowded? And it was like, oh yeah, there was like, there's a specific class at the studio I don't go to because it was way too crowded. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing this. So I still feel that way. So when I go, if a class is too crowded, I'll leave. I'm like, I'll start going to walk around the block until the next class, or go home, so I get my steps in and then go home. But that was part of it. Part of it was like, I had gained so much weight, being here, being in the house all the time, not feeling like I want to do keto, like all the other stuff and a big part of my life was working out and dancing and stuff. And it just stopped so abruptly.
Yeah.
And it really messed with like my mental and my psyche and all of that. And so it's like, that part of me that's my health still part of my health has now trumped the risk that I take against coronavirus, which is, it's selfish. Because what if we are, I don't know if immune is the right word, but what if we're asymptomatic, right? What if we had it and we're asymptomatic, but I go to a place and I give it to someone else?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times where I was like, but if it's my mom or my grandma and they're like, what if it's just a person? And that person that I don't know, but I'm responsible for making them sick, which is why I don't want to seem self-righteous, because some people might see even my interaction with the outside world as frivolous. Like, you don't need to go outside for these types of things. And if it ain't the grocery store or whatever, like you going to work out or you going to an outdoor restaurant, even though, again, I've only eaten outdoors. I haven't eaten inside anywhere yet. I just think like, somebody else might be like, well, I still am like quarantine level 1. Like, I ain't still doing that. So they might view me as selfish. So I don't want to be like super self-righteous and think of people who just going to some parties and doing whatever. But then part of me is just like, well, is it worth that? Like, is it worth it going to a club? Is it worth it doing whatever? Like, that's
like making it rain just is not a main priority.
That is not about any, I mean, it might, some people could put it under the category of mental health, but I don't think that, like, it's not necessarily mental health related. So I do think, I don't want to be self-righteous, but I have to do, again, what's comfortable for me. But also, you don't want nobody in the house either, so don't put that all on me, Ricky Bobby.
That's the thing, like, I feel like, I mean, true. Especially in the beginning, but it's like now I'm like, okay. But I feel like we could have somebody in the house, but it's like, who in the world do you trust?
See, and that's the thing.
To be in the house.
Do you have to give him, like, for me to go to work, I have to do a questionnaire, which reminds me I need to do it today before I go to the office tomorrow. You have to do a questionnaire where you're like attesting, I haven't done this, and this. I'm not, I haven't tested positive for COVID. No, no one in my family does. I'm not living with some, whatever the case is. for you to be able to go on campus. And it's like, do we institute something like that to have people come over? Is it worth it? Especially for me, while it's still nice outside, let's just meet somewhere that's not in the house. Like, I'm all about hanging out with friends and doing things. Like, especially because I haven't seen a lot of my friends in a long time. Or definitely with less frequency than we used to hang out.
Well, shoot, I don't know nobody, barely know anybody here. So, like, I mean, of course, like, people we have mutual friendship with and everything like that. But like even when one of my guys came by, like I forgot I think he was coming from LA or something like that. And he was here with his fiance. And he was like, man, I want to stop by and everything like that. I'm like, oh, all right, we ain't having nobody in the house right now, so I'll just meet you by the pool. Or we just go somewhere and everything like that.
Yeah, that was earlier, so definitely no.
Yeah. So
this is somebody I know.
Yeah. No, so we met up and like at first we was gonna go to like a Starbucks or something like that, and then it was like too like kind of late and everything like that. But so we just sat by the pool and like chopped it up and whatnot. I was like, yeah, this is really playing with my the decision making and everything like that. Because even when like planning stuff is a little bit difficult for me because of the fact. Like I'm still like at the beginning, I was still fairly new here. And so a lot of places that I didn't get to experience a lot. Like there was only some places where I was like, when I was like driving around and I was like taking notes, like, oh, this looks like a nice spot to go on a date. This looks like a place that we can do great things, like have dinner or
great things like dinner.
Like the great American pastime and everything.
Dinner.
But I just think a lot of the decision making, like planning anything right now is, well, not right now, but like in the beginning was a little bit harder because I'm not familiar with the area, but also it was trying to figure out whether we can go to these places or not, or like there was a lot of factors into play, but that was some of the main things that like I had to focus on. Like, okay, are they doing stuff where we can actually be inside or even be outside on, like I had to research restaurants that had like a patio area and everything like that, or research things like date ideas just for outdoors, and hopefully it wasn't raining because Houston rains a lot and stuff like that. I'm like, okay.
See, I think for me, like, it already spoke to the planner in me who likes to know where she's going, what's happening, what are the activities, what time will this all commence, what time will this end. That's just who I am naturally, like an organizer at heart. So for me, a lot of it was just like, all right, it didn't change that much. I mean, yes, it was in terms of like how I research, but now it does make you more vigilant. Like, what kind of protocols and practices do these places implement? Can we do this? Like, what does that mean? And it's hard because even when you do see your friends, it's like normally we hug and it's just, and physical touch is not high on my my love languages. I think physical touch is the last, but I do like a hug every once in a while. And like, yeah, we hug one another. But it's just like you know, if I see Dre, like it's just like you know, it's just like you want to hug your friends, and then you're just like, well, you know, what do I do? So sometimes I think I avoid people to avoid that.
Like that awkwardness, like it's nothing against you.
Not even the awkwardness, the missing. It's kind of like when we're apart, I miss you, but it's different than the like you're right here but I can't touch you. Like if you go visit a loved one in jail almost and they're like have the thing up, so it's like you right here but I can't really touch you. Like it's a different kind of pain. It's just like, and I didn't realize that till we did the social distancing gathering in the park with like the Cashville group. And I was just like, shit, this is weird because I want to hug my friends or you know, I want to shake hands or I want us to not be yelling across the thing at each other. And fun. It's hot. And it was fun.
And you can't hear nobody behind the mask.
Yes. And it was fun. We still had a good time. But it was just like, wow, this is really different than but different is not always bad. And I think, you know, everybody's kind of under this idea that things will just be better next year. And I'm just like, I don't know why people think this ball going to drop on
like
December 31st.
As soon as December 30th, as soon as New Year's happens, coronavirus just.
And I don't know why people
like,
think that, because we're probably going to be in this. But people are like, there's a movie theater right outside our apartment complex. You sneak your $10 back. That they're open now. Yeah, they're open now. I looked it up because I'd seen cars there, and it's never really full, because I think a lot of people are like, "What? We ain't going to the movies." Like, but it happens. Like, people are going to movies now. I am not.
I mean, they're making it a little bit more convenient, because like I keep seeing this ad on Facebook to rent out a Cinemark theater. I think it's Cinemark. Like you can rent out the theater for like $99 to $149 and stuff like that.
Like you and your group.
Yeah, like a group of 20 people and whatnot. I'm like, I don't know what 20 people I would.
I mean, I guess it was a birthday thing. I just don't want to watch a movie in a mask when we have televisions in our home that play there.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. You're right. It's not the same, and that's okay. I think that we have to get over that. Like, and that's. I don't know if it's just human or if it's American. I want to venture to say it's very American and slightly human. Yeah, it's not the same. Okay. Like, okay, it is not the same. We're not going to die because it's not the same. We could die trying to force it to be the same.
True.
Like, literally trying to force it to be the same will kill us. There's a greater chance of that killing you. Dealing with that, it's not going to be the same, might be a drag. Yeah, that sucks, but that sucks is better than death, I think. I would choose that sucks over death. It is not the same. Especially because we had got into the habit, because there's a movie theater so close, it had $5 Tuesdays. So every other week, we knew on Tuesday we were going on our date to the movies. And we even like bought one right before it like shut down. Like that Tuesday, they're like, sir, I know I forgot what we were going to go see.
Bloodshot.
Oh yeah, we were going to see Bloodshot, which we just saw it on Showtime the other day. Took us a few months to see it.
I want Showtime. That was Prime.
Stars.
Stars, yeah.
Stars. But anyway, like we saw it. It took us a while. But yeah. Like, I get it. Like, some of that you can't see. But I kind of want to shift gears. So we want to talk about the whole thing about, we talked about quarantine in general, but we want to talk about kind of how it impacted our relationship and our lives. We talked about kind of how we felt and how we transitioned. But in terms of our relationship, I think it was interesting because we had just started living together for 3 months when the pandemic hit.
Right.
And so we really went from like, I had to go to work. I mean, you already work from home.
Yeah.
So you worked from home already. I worked out of the home, even though I work close to the house. So oftentimes I come home for lunch.
Right.
But I was in the office Monday through Friday. And then I was, going to work out. So like we saw each other, but there was like a sense of space. We had taken this space and it was both of our office, but mainly yours. Cause I was just here like, like, oh, if I had something to do after work or for personal projects, but not to work.
Right.
And then I got back from spring break. I went to work. And when we got there, we learned that we were prepping to go into what we were calling altered operations, which was working remotely, which we did up until the end of July. So from mid-March to end of July, I was 100% remote. There was a small stint where I went in once a week just to make sure we had opened some different entities of the office. But for the most part, we was 100% remote. So that meant we had to change up our office space because I was here and I needed to work from here. So I had to make sure. I mean, the first thing we just ended up doing was like increasing our internet speed, that kind of stuff, because it wasn't like one day you turn the TV on, TV wasn't working because like you use all your internet. It ended up not costing anything. Actually, we saved a penny.
We saved
a penny. Literally a penny. It cost a penny less to upgrade our internet. But you had to like change around your space and really make it so that I was in here a lot more We got cool chairs, all that kind of stuff.
IKEA.
But I think also from a togetherness factor, that we were together all the time. And it was the two of us, especially in the beginning where it's like, well, there is no one else. Like, we're not hanging out with anyone else.
Right.
It is just us.
I feel like for the most part, it seemed like a Black Mirror episode. Like, it was unexpected to a certain degree because I wasn't expecting everything to shut down. Mm-hmm. And then when we shifted everything, I wasn't against it or anything like that. It wasn't like, like, no, this is my space and everything like that. It wasn't like that. So I think for me, like, especially I worked on the go a lot. Mm-hmm. So, and then on top of that, like having my job, like I was expecting, to feel like a productive member of society going in and everything like that. We were like, they kept giving me a
date. That's funny because you still have technically never worked in your office.
Not at all.
You started a new job right when this happened too.
Yeah. So we, they kept giving me a day like, okay, we'll go back to being in class in June, and then it was August, and then it was September. I was like, you know what, just leave me home. I'm perfectly fine working.
But now you're remote for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah. Like we can't go, a lot of us can't go back into the office. Everything is virtual. And then on top of that, I think because of like how I work with freelance, like it was more so like I'm always in front of the computer. I have no issue going to the living room, working on my laptop and whatnot. I think what got it for me was I'm socially distant by choice most of the time.
Yeah.
Having my decision taken away from me was the part that I had to adjust to, because it's like, as I said, I'm socially distanced by choice. So when you take that choice away from me, I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to get bored. Very bored. Because it's like, working from home, like you can do a lot of stuff and then you could just go outside if you want to go to lunch or something like that. Couldn't do any of that. Oh, yeah, you just had to have lunch here. You had it got to the point where, my lunches? Of course I love your lunches. Okay. It's just a little different when you want to go to a coffee shop and everything like that. Or like say if we were able to go to a coffee shop and just work and just, I'm not sure what they call it, but I guess it's like a mood or something like that, or like some I'm just saying, like, people, go to work on things at a coffee shop, or they're able to do certain things that put them in their scene.
Okay.
And so when I wasn't able to like go in or go anywhere, I'm like, okay, this is going to be different, because at least when I'm working from home or doing social distancing on my own, I was at least able to make that decision to walk out that door, get in that car, go to wherever I wanted to go. No mask, no nothing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get that. I think that when I first started, I was excited. I've been dying to work from home. Okay. I was excited, but then there was a piece of like, I'm excited that we had space where this can be the office.
Right.
Because I needed to be able to step outside of this room and be at home. So even though this is home, like this room, mm-hmm. there is a like work feel that this room has. Like sometimes if I come in here, it's like I'm coming to work. Like it's more office-y. Like I try to keep it mm-hmm. more like my office than like, the rest of the house. Whereas I don't necessarily like doing work in the living room, like on the couch, because it's too comfortable and it's too relaxed. And I want a separation from my home, like how I feel at home and work. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I have not relaxed so much until quarantine. And so yes, the pandemic has brought a lot of death and destruction and some bad things, but it also has brought some beautiful things. It has given me an opportunity to rest that I would have never taken mm-hmm. myself, because I don't rest well. I don't relax well. I don't relax well. Relaxing is, I have to plan it. I don't. So when it was forced upon me to take a break, you can't go here, you can't do that. And I had already planned on not traveling the first 6 months of the year, but I ain't planning on not travel the entire year. So it kind of was like, well, damn, y'all. But I think in terms of how we interacted, it really said, okay, this is your relationship. And we already have discussed like our relationship has moved fairly quickly in terms of an actual time, a timeline. But it was like, oh, you see this turbo button? Like off. Like
I wonder what this red button does.
It really did like accelerate everything, because it really put in the face many of the experiences that you have when you are cohabitating with a person that you're romantically involved with, and you're trying to figure out likes and dislikes. But like, what if you don't have a break from them? What if you are in the same space with them? And we were already fairly together, because like I said, I worked close to the house, so I would come home unless I had like meetings that made it too difficult. We're a 1-car household right now. Yeah. So we were already like planning, like, okay, I have this to do. Like, do you need to drop me off here, or do you need to drop me off here? Like, I'm going to come here, but can you pick me up? Like, so we already had that kind of a thing. But when it was like literally like, so we share, I say literally a lot. So when we like share a calendar, which we're doing to like make sure that the other person is aware of what's going on in our day. And so also so we can plan like, oh, do you need the car because you'll be gone, and like what other arrangements the other person has to make. But it was just like when you wake up next to a person and they're there, and it's like, I go to work and now that person is my coworker and we're here working together, and then you take a lunch break, and then everything you do all day involves this person. And no matter how much you love that person, that's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot of togetherness. It was. Yeah. I think it was.
Honestly, okay. In the beginning, it was like, okay, like it's gonna be an adjustment, but at the same time, it's like, okay, she's just gonna be here. And then it's like, yeah, it's like I just saw you. Okay. Yeah. I just saw you again. Like, it's like, it's not like we're living in a huge mansion where like we're on the other side of the wing and everything like that.
We're in a 2-bedroom apartment.
So it's like most of the time, because like one thing I don't like when I work is like anybody looking over my shoulder. Not saying that you do, but it always just feels like it, especially when we're in the office together. It's like, okay.
But I'll be right there minding my business.
Right. And it's like, because like, I've had jobs before where like I'm over here just in my design, I'm in my work and everything like that. And next thing I know, like you have like a whole slew of people behind you looking over your shoulder.
That's why I hate offices, or I will never have my back facing my door. Never. I hate. I mean, yes, clearly right now my back faces the door. I know my back faces the door right now. But that's different. It's not my office. It's still my house. So it's different, and that's the best lighting. So. But it worked like in the office space, and if it were up to me, also that's also because of the configuration of this room, we have to share it. All that. Yeah. If it were up to me, I wouldn't. I would not have my back to the door. One, I just never feel comfortable that way. But I mean, it's the house, so it's different. But in a workspace where there are other people, I hate people walking up. It's like I hate for people to walk.
Yeah, like. When I was working at 9Mag, like there would be people like I'm over here working on the videos and stuff, and I'm like literally just glued to the screen and whatnot. And then like, you could feel somebody looking over your shoulder, like literally like right here. Yeah. And I'm like, why do I feel like somebody's on my neck? Like that's the only thing that I guess like I got PTSD from that and everything like that. So every now and then like I'm just looking over my shoulder and just looking like a pigeon and everything like that. No. Anyway. But I think, okay, so as far as us, I was excited for you to be home because I'm like, being here all the time was like really, like I like to have the freedom and everything like that to just walk around and everything like that, no problem. Not saying that I don't have the freedom when you're
right. I'm like, you'll never wear shirts around this place.
That's true, but it's like
I don't know. You went around here putting your balls on the couch when I'm not here.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. So I'm like, how much more free can you get?
No, it's like, I'm not even sure if I'm using that correctly. So it's like it's a different freedom when you could just like be I don't know, not necessarily yourself.
I get what you mean. When you're by yourself, it's different than when you're with another person, no matter how much you love them or whatever.
Because like I bounce from room to room, and I know that would probably drive you crazy. So I can go from here to the couch, start watching TV, back in here because I have an idea, to the kitchen.
It don't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. The only thing that would bother me is if you ain't turn on the lights and stuff off when you leave the room. So you're probably right because you don't. So that probably would bother me.
I do turn off the lights.
You don't turn off everything. What?
Your computer screen?
You do turn our computer screen off at night. You never turn the ceiling fans off in the bedroom. Yes, never.
Because it's
ever. I turn it off every day. No, in the bedroom, not in here. There's no ceiling fan in the bedroom.
I need the air to circulate.
If you are sitting in here with the door closed, you cannot feel the air for the ceiling fan in the bedroom. But we are on a see, this is togetherness.
So I think, like, as far as our relationship, like, of course it was an adjustment because one, we were just like, of course you said we were just starting to live together, but I was like, okay, like making sure I had the open mind and everything like that. Like, okay, this ain't gonna be bad and everything like that. It's still not bad, but I think because of the fact this was fresh as far as us living together, we were still figuring each other out as far as living together.
Yeah,
like figuring out how we move and everything like that. So everything in the beginning was definitely different because you saw like a lot of the stuff that I do. Like sometimes I will leave a shirt on the floor and it might irritate you, or I don't put the caps on my what's some things called, the contact cases and everything.
I wanted to tell you about a project that I started. You reminded me of videos of you not putting the cap on your contact lenses.
But that's the thing. I've like, here's day never one, done
day that. 2, day 3. Okay, this is my last tangent. I just don't understand. And so maybe America, you tell me. Those of you who wear contacts, do you put the lid? I'm gonna ask that on IG. Do you put the lid back on your contact case after you put your contacts in? Because this is me. I don't understand, and I don't wear contacts. I don't wear glasses, but I just imagine if I open the thing. And I take the thing. I used to wear color contacts in high school. And so at the time I wore those contacts, I put the lid back on. I just imagine putting them in my eye. If I take one, even if I do them both at the same time, or if I did them separately, and putting the little cap back on. Either dump that solution and put the cap back on while it's in my hand and put it down. Mm-hmm. But he just literally opens the things, puts the caps wherever, puts the things.
They are still relatively close to the case.
Relative to what?
To the case.
They are cousins. They not sister and brother. They not mom and dad. They ain't husband and wife. They are cousins.
But that's the thing. Like,
they are third cousins in relation to the case.
I've never done that. So it's like, as soon as I put my contacts in, because also that's part of the reason why, not part of the reason, but like when I started wearing glasses again.
Yeah, we need to go get your glasses so you can stop doing this.
Anyway, but I just think I had to think, like, most of the stuff that we actually talk about, I had to think, like, have I ever done that?
Yeah.
Like me hanging up my towel, that's new for me.
And it's funny, and I think that'll be a different episode, because I think part of the quarantine did bring us to a place where we had conversations about, and it really did. I promise you, I have gotten way less upset about stuff because we have had conversations about it. Prompted because I was just like, why don't you put the tops on everything? And I remember you were like, what? Because hungry. Because you were like, what? And I realized you were doing it absent-minded. Like it wasn't a thing to you. Mm. Because I just think about, like, I'm here and I'm like, yeah. So, and just like, but why wouldn't I just?
But see,
you did. So I just like, that's what I'm saying. But in these instances, so what I'm saying is, it wouldn't make sense to me why instead of just doing this, like how I found it, because it doesn't take more effort. Because if I do all this, then when I go to get this back, it takes more effort than if I just do it to begin with. But it did bring us to a conversation where we were able to talk about like how we were raised, the type of homes we grew up in, and how that shaped who we are and why we do different things, even in terms of like our daily rituals and stuff like that. And I've noticed you make significant effort to not do things. Either one, because you don't want to be nagged. Which is fair.
Okay.
Or two, because you're like, well, yeah, I am doing this. I should not do that. But I also make effort to just be like, okay, Donisha, it's one time. Like, let it go. Let it go. And sometimes it's so hard because let me tell you, when people tell you get more like your parents as you get older, I would legitimately feel the spirit of my mother like take over me and be like, you better pick up that goddamn sock. Like she possesses me sometimes. Like she did the other day when the neighbors are being loud. So crazy. My mother is living, so I don't understand how this possession works at this point. But it really did. I think it really did bring us to a point where we got to know one another better. You gotta get that fixed. It did bring us to a point where we got to know one another better in that respect, in a way that it wasn't just about, because I'm not a fan of just like letting things happen that bother me. Like I just want to talk about it. Like, why is this happening? Like, why are we doing these things? I think it shifted the way we've had some significant fights since we're in quarantine, probably like 2. So I'm not gonna say we're fighting it. We don't fight that often, which is good. But we've had like 2 significant fights. I think that I honestly think part of it is just brought on by quarantine. Because and we can again talk about this in another episode. Like part of it affected like how I felt about myself. Like I didn't it made me think once I was relaxing, and that was good, right? But then I just started thinking like all these things about who I am and my personality have to shift so much. And it had me asking like, well, who am I and what am I doing? And, I've had opportunity like talking to my therapist and stuff like that. And I'm trying to figure that out. And then from a physical aspect, I'm like really letting myself go at one point and not caring, which has a sense of liberation about it when you don't care about what you look like, but that's not who I am, right?
Right.
I had to get to that space where I'm a person who likes to dress up. I like looking nice, and I don't want to be ashamed for that. But I wasn't putting much effort into what I look like. And for me, when I don't feel like I look good, when I'm not presenting well on the outside, I don't feel good on, it's often a direct reflection of how I feel on the inside. And then I don't feel beautiful. If I don't feel beautiful, I don't feel sexy, which means like I don't feel as connected physically to you, and it's me, I don't feel as romantic. I don't feel any of that. And I think that the quarantine what, you disagree?
No, I agree.
I think the quarantine just exacerbated a lot of that for a while, where it affected our sex life. It was just like, I just want to be here. I just want to like sit and deal. And if I'm honest, like it put me into the shallow ends of depression for a little while, where I had some really rough days towards the middle of quarantine. Like I felt like you might have been nervous.
I mean, I think I was going through my own stuff as well, but because I was like, you had your mindset and everything like that, and I had my questioning. I'm like, okay, what did I do? So it wasn't necessarily, it was definitely quarantine that put me in that space where, Because it's like hard to be romantic in a place that you are always in. Like, and trying to spice up the whole bedroom scene that you just woke up out of, went to the office, and then like you're seeing it. It's not like going to a hotel and everything like that, and like everything is like nice and laid out and whatnot. Or we like, I feel like just like, you know, the Heart Grows Fonder with us, like when we were not like in the same space. I mean, for our apartment or our house, it's almost the same thing. Like we have to give ourselves a chance to actually miss it and miss being in our own bed.
Yeah.
So like not going out, like to work or anything like that. I didn't necessarily miss being here because I am here.
Yeah.
And I'm like literally, I could literally just walk right around that corner and go to the bedroom. So it was hard to like come up with ideas to like spice up some stuff. Or like I could definitely feel it when you weren't feeling your best. And I think the hardest part was the fact that I didn't know what to do about it. Because I'm like, she knows I know that, like, you know, I think you're beautiful and I think you're sexy.
Yes.
But convincing you in this time was like, it's not something that I could really do.
Yeah.
So
I can see you try really hard and like get frustrated, but still try to be like understanding, because you just be like, how don't you see this? You're fine. And I just be like, no, but I am this many more pounds heavier and I don't feel good about myself. And I know that you're like, I'm attracted to you. Like, and it's really, and then so part of that is also convincing you that it's not about you, and that I 100% appreciate how you feel about me. I love how you love me. I love that you think I'm sexy and that you're attracted to me. And that is great, but it is not everything I need. I have to feel that way about me. And it has zero to do with how you see me. And I think that has probably been something that's not been as easy for you to understand, that like your thoughts, your admiration, your feelings for me are needed and appreciated, but it's not what I'm talking about. Like, that's me. Like, I need to feel good about myself. And that's why when I was telling you like a few weeks ago, when I started to feel more like myself than ever, like, one, my back stopped hurting. That was another thing. Like, physically, I was in pain. That being sedentary for so long, what I realized now that I started going to work out like almost every day and been a lot more active, I'm not in pain. Like, my back, besides my stupid foot hurting for no reason, which I elevated for a few minutes and I'm fine. But my back, I haven't had no back pain. Like, none. I sneezed the other day freely, which is like a big thing. You sneeze. I have sciatic nerve issues, so it hurt really bad. I just sneezed and I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, I sneezed and didn't die.
Like, it's the little things.
It really is the little things, but it's things like that. Like, quarantine just really shifted me into that place, and I think it made really made us take such a close look and a microscopic look at how we interact with one another, because the shift in our relationship had happened so suddenly. We went from when we started dating, long distance. So we were seeing one another every few weeks, or, you know, once a month or every other month, whatever the case is. And I think that I've had some time to really sit and think about like how that has affected us, and it just helped me give grace to both of us in this, because I feel like I want to be hard on us about it, but it's like we went from that to, so even in terms of how romantic we were, it's like, yeah, I ain't seen you in a month, and everything's new. And everything is like a vacation. So when you're on vacation, yeah, you want to like do it all the time. You want to like be, you're like, we can do it on the beach. Whatever. No, we're not on the beach, but you know what I mean.
I ain't getting no sand. Well, I'm not opposed to getting sand, but
you know what I mean. Like, everything is like, oh, we're on an adventure. There's no work to worry about, really. Even if we are checking emails, where it's very like, okay, while we're apart, a very small amount of time. And then we shifted all of that to like, living together, but it's also like we're apart all day.
Yeah.
We have time. I'm still, for the most part, have my activities and my things going on, and we're like making time. And so it allowed for that. Plus, everything's so new. Then we started getting into routine on top of just being together all the time. So it's just like, he's just right here. It's right here. It's like, and it's not about you. It was also about like, if I'm not taking the time to take care of myself, and like I'm not showering till 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'm just switching from one pair of leggings to another pair of leggings, and I'm not really combing my hair, and you're like, I'm like, well, he know what I look like, so I ain't putting on makeup and lashes. What's that for? And like all of that, like not putting that effort into myself, it makes me not want to put effort into anything. And I realize, like, you know, outside of the depressive part of that, right? Like that there has to be work to make the relationship work. But there's also just a like I had to give myself grace to be like, you know, a lot has transpired. And it's also a pandemic. So there has to be a lot of like, it's bound to be rocky, and for us to have moments where it is like, okay, this is, you know, this person is here all day. And I think, and again, I know I keep saying like another day for another episode, but I do think like we approach relationship in terms of togetherness differently. I think that because you've had more long-standing relationships than I have, and I think that in those relationships, y'all spend a lot of time together, like when you could, and like that was like the goal. And you were with people who want to be with you all the time, and I am not that person, so it was different. But having that conversation about like me wanting to be by myself because I've been single for a long time, so I've really come to appreciate my alone time, and I really need it. I need time to myself. And it has, again, nothing to do with you. I love being with you. It's great. But also, I just like love being by myself. I love to just be like, I'm going to do this by myself. Like, and you always try to put it in like, oh, grocery store, I thought you loved being by yourself. I know you're trying to do stuff like that. But it's just like, I do enjoy like our time together. But like I said, like I just also enjoy like being, like having some time to like reflect and do my own thing. And I think, I mean, quarantine made that really hard, where it's just like, do I just go in the other room, and then how long is too long? And then like, do I tell? But sometimes it did just put us in a space where I had to just be like, no, I want to be by myself right now. Like I want to go in here and be alone, and I'll come back out and see you. But right now I want to be here by myself.
I hear you. I mean, I think like previous relationships put me in a space where like, you know, we were together a long time, like in the same vicinity for a very long time, but at the same time it was I thought that was what was expected of me. And then I know like even in some relationships where I was there but I was absent. So like I could be in the same space with you, but I'm over here just not really thinking about, you know, the fact that we are together or really enjoying it because I'm on my phone. And so I didn't want to be in that. I didn't want that to happen. So like I think most days, like especially after watching like even some of the stuff on Netflix, like you actively have to put your phone down, and it's a little bit hard.
Let me tell you, ever since we watched social, my thing told me I was down 14% on my screen time this week, even from the other day, because I've been so like, don't touch your phone, leave your phone. I've been getting, because that scared me watching that. Which I watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It really makes you think. I've been wanting like stuff I was gonna buy before, but I'd be like, am I just buying this because they're marketing it to me? I've been like,
right, you think about it
so crazy about it now.
But I think for the most part, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't doing that. Or not, or whether I was being there and just really being there instead of being absent. So most of the stuff that we do in like quarantine, like when you're saying that you need, like I love having me time. Most of the time I don't know what to do with myself, but especially like now, because like we can't really we still can't really do a whole lot of stuff that would put us at risk. So when it comes to me having my free time and everything like that, like most of the time that would just be going for a drive. And I'm like,
So you could do that.
But here is a little different to go for a drive.
How?
It takes 30 minutes to go everywhere.
But where you going? You just driving. If the drive is the point, it might not take 30 minutes. Where you? The drive is the point. You're not saying, oh, I want to go to this place. You're saying, I want to drive. Mm-hmm. So what if it takes 30 minutes? The point is you want to drive.
But then I know I'm going to get bored. But, like, very easily.
So you don't go because you might get bored? So you don't go because you might get bored?
No, I don't sometimes go because I don't, like, I would like to have some place to go that, I guess let loose. Like, I don't know, I'm not going to no bar because I'm like, I don't want to be in a bar. And most of the time, like, stuff that I'm thinking about doing, I would rather do with you. So, like, that's the difference.
But you can also do it yourself. Just because you do something by yourself doesn't mean you can't also do it with me another time. I do things by myself, and then we can go do it together. Mm-hmm. Like, I walk, and then I invite you to my walk, so you come sometime. Sometimes I just go because I don't want to go, and I need.
No, I'm not talking about like little stuff like things like that. I'm talking about like going to the arcade or something like that, or going
things you can do by yourself if you want to. If that's the kind of thing you want to do. You just want to do it, I think you should do it. What do you think, America? I think you should do it. America thinks you should do it.
America? I don't trust America right now.
The people. Our people. Our people in our America. Like, in our America, I think that you should do it.
Okay. I mean, I have no issue with it.
I think you should just do stuff. I really believe in enjoying your own company, because I think that honestly, I think it makes you a better person for everyone else you're in company with. Because like I really like hanging out with me. Like, I'm a cool person. I have a good time. I sing my songs in the car. I be like I have a great time alone. And I think it like yesterday, I spent the morning with myself. I went grocery shopping, and it really amped me up. So when I got home, I was like excited to share my adulting victories with you. And like, it made, like, I was excited because I had expressed all this energy, and I had been around, like, and I had just like been, really having a good time with myself. So that when I got home, I had the energy, I think, like, and it wasn't draining. I was outside filling my cup up. Mm-hmm. And spending time with me. So when I got home, I was just like really excited to like be like, and these are all the things I did. Like a kid would have like, how was school? So at school, Billy did. Like, that's how I felt. I felt really good, and I want more days like that. Especially like, I think the weather is helping because it's not as butt hot as often. I mean,
that's another thing that made me not want to go outside is the heat here.
But it's not hot like that anymore. It's gotten so much better. It's
within the past week or
2 weeks. Yeah, it's been like cold in the morning, so you have opportunities. So go outside more. Do all that. Okay. I be trying not to nag you, but also I just want you to be better. Like, I just want you to experience stuff. So I'd be like, and that's another thing. I be trying to like, should I say this? I'm like, because it sounds so naggy. But then if I don't say it, I just be beating myself up in my head. Like, you should have said that. You should say, maybe he wants this information. So, what do you think about? Well, is there anything else? My stomach is growling like crazy. Do you hear it? It's just like, girl.
I can't hear your stomach over the sound of my stomach. Oh, so therefore.
That means. So I think overall, whether or not we're in quarantine light right now, we said. I think that we've had some ups and downs. I'm very blessed for the opportunity, because I know some people who are by themselves, huh? Mm-hmm. And I would imagine that'd be very difficult.
Unless they're like you and love being by yourself.
Even loving to be by myself, I wouldn't want to be by myself 100% of the time without being able to physically touch anyone. And especially being like neither one of us being able to go home due to quarantine. So we haven't seen our parents in person since Christmas, and that's hard. You know? Even my crazy mama who drives me crazy, like she was supposed to come in for Mother's Day, but we had to like turn her ticket back in. So like stuff like that, like I miss my sister, I miss my best friends, like all of that kind of stuff. Like I haven't gone I don't think either one of us have gone this long without seeing like our loved ones. And so I'm happy that at least we have one another.
Right.
To be able to experience this with, even though life ain't been no crystal stair.
Oh my God.
Next to his, right? Even though it hasn't been the easiest process,
it's been, like, for me, it's been a little bit easier just because, like, I don't necessarily, I don't think it's, like, I'm always thinking, like, you know, there could be other things at play that could be worse.
No, I mean, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, it wasn't the year that we planned.
That's true.
Yeah. And it definitely was very different from the year we had last year. We were on planes all the time last year. I just want to go past the airport to
I miss you.
I miss you. I love you. You know, I just called Southwest, see how they was doing.
Go.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add for this episode?
I mean, if you still are, well, of course we're still in quarantine, but just keep your mind open, man, because sticking to just one thing, especially when everything is changing, it's a little bit hard to like keep certain old ideals within your household and everything like that. So just be open to new suggestions and new ideas from your partner.
Like, I let you change the direction of the couch. It took 4 months, but I did it.
That is true.
We changed the direction of the couch, and I was like, you know what? You might not be wrong. This might be nice. I tripped over it one time. I ain't let that discourage me. I said,
don't let that hold you back. Be free.
I'm clumsy, so I was just
Stay
like, so I let you do that. Rearrange furniture. So see, open mind. Thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 2 of If It Isn't Love podcast. You can follow us on IG at If It Isn't Love podcast. You'll see a beautiful picture of these two faces. Follow us, please share our videos. You can share, just share the page, invite other people to join. Do we have an email?
Yes, we do.
If you have any questions or comments or stories or things you want to email us, you can email us at
ifitisntllovepodcast@gmail.com.
And we will respond. We look forward to, we have some fun content coming up for you outside of the podcast, especially, for Halloween and just other different things, couple-y things that we have that, come from this brilliant mind right here. Some of it comes from mine, but he's real. I'm telling y'all, a lot of this, I have the idea he really be putting some energy in. I'm proud of you, baby.
I'll try. I do my thing.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you or listen to you. Or no, you'll listen to us. We'll be back next week. Bye.